this is how Group B looks right now. Now, this is as it stands because that France-Greece game, they are playing 14 minutes stoppage time in that. Kylian Mbappe put France 1-0 up from the penalty spot 10 minutes into the second half. The spot kick had to be retaken, but he did manage to convert it in the end. So victory for Ireland, victory for France as well. Well, likely victory, but they are still playing in that game. If it does end like that, France will go to 12 points, Greece on 6 points, but Ireland finally off the mark. That does seem important, Liam Brady, but as we said beforehand, it was almost a no-win situation for this team, given the situation that they put themselves in with the opening 2 defeats.
Yeah, and we were all frustrated at the end of the first half because they didn't get the breaks with all the pressure they had. The ball didn't end up in the right area and so forth. You need a bit of luck to break the deadlock, and that's what we got with the free kick. It came off the wall and it fell to Johnston, who put it away for his first goal. He made a big difference coming on. He can take players on. I thought the wing backs in the first half were very good. The wide players, McClean, he pushed him to full back in the second half. I think that was a good tactical move from Stephen Kenny, because having 3 at the back against 1 forward, if they had a forward, Gibraltar, was a waste of men. So he made a good call. Second half was much better, much quicker. And we got a few goals. And I think Didi said, there's a lot of kids coming to the matches here. At the Aviva, new fans, and they want to see the Irish team winning and get a few goals. So it was very satisfying. But where it leaves us going forward as regards actually making a huge breakthrough and qualifying for a competition, I still think we're a long way off that. I'm sorry to say, in my last appearance here on RTE, that I still think we're an awful long way off from making the breakthrough of qualifying for a Euros or a World Cup with this squad of players.
Big, genuine looking smiles there, Didi, and Liam called it very satisfying. It's a team ranked 201st in the world.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, you have to beat them, but at the same time, France, even though they played away to Gibraltar on a smaller pitch and probably not a pitch as good as tonight, they only beat them 3-0, so they did what they had to do tonight. And now you have to move forward. They've got 2 tough games in September, doubleheader against France and Netherlands. You would like to think they probably need 3 points out of the 2 games. But, stranger things happen. It'll give them a bit of confidence. The good thing is that there's a lot of happy people here tonight going on, because they had to suffer a lot, the fans, in the last 2 or 3 years. But they're still in the race to qualify. Yes, it'll be a big ask to do that, but the introduction of Johnston was a game changer. So
certainly was a game changer. Okay, on the game changing notion, you did suggest before the game, as had been suggested, that perhaps Stephen Kenny got his tactics wrong and didn't change in time. So we might discuss whether or not he did get that right this evening. Well, that's a nice way to celebrate your 100th cap for James McClean, especially given the difficult few months he's had and the Republic of Ireland have had, but they have at least finished tonight on a bit of a high with a 3-0 win over Gibraltar. France have also completed that victory over Greece. Hard fought it was as well in Paris. They won that one by a 0-0. That retaken Kylian Mbappe penalty in the second half. But we're going to concentrate on what happened for Ireland here. Everybody's been saying it. Mikey Johnson came on for the start of the second half. Was his impact immediate? Yeah,
I would have to say, yeah, he took people on. He got crosses in. He's obviously good on the ball. But we needed to get that bit of luck, Joanne, on the free kick, because it wasn't a great kick. It wasn't a great execution from Smallbone. He actually hit the wall. One of the Gibraltar defenders heads it against his teammate, and it breaks to Johnston. Goalkeeper's gone for the shot. He's over the other side of the goal, and it's the easiest goal he'll ever score in his life. Empty net, but that was the bit of luck we needed. Confidence, I think, flowed into the team after that, and we went on and won convincingly.
He'll claim you have to be in the right place at the right time, right?
Yeah. And stay on side.
Yeah.
And stay on side, because you've seen players go too early, they're half a yard offside, doesn't count. Makes all the difference.
Now, you hear us waxing lyrical about Evan Ferguson, and he obviously has made a big impact over in the Premier League as well. What's your view as an outsider in many ways to him as a player and what he offered tonight?
No, he just looks at the complete player with 18 years of age, because he's obviously a very good header of the ball. He anticipates where the cross is going to come. It's a beautiful ball, just dinked in by McClean, attacks the ball. An easy finish for him. This is like a penalty for him. But I just feel that he doesn't waste any energy. He's very, very smart the way he plays, the way he keeps the ball, the way he brings his teammates into play. And he doesn't waste any energy, because sometimes you see forwards, when things don't go right, they chase everything. And when they do get the ball, they're out of breath, or they haven't got the energy to do what they should do. But he's just an all-round player. And at his age, I think Ray said it in commentary, and Dara, how many goals is he going to score for Ireland? I think big boots to fill what Robbie Keane did, but I think he's got everything to be a huge player for Ireland, and obviously for Brighton and whoever he plays in the next 2 years. He's a terrific prospect.
Is the key from an Irish point of view, though, finding a way to actually use him properly? And does Stephen Kenny or whoever is in charge need to build the team around him and the whole game plan around when you have quality like that up front?
Well, as a national team manager, you rely on what the clubs give you. You can't buy a player. Brighton does, where you say, well, we need somebody who plays with him. Here you have to see who fits him best, and obviously the better the players are who play with him, the easier it'll get for him. I think obviously with Obafemi it didn't really work today, but it wasn't his game, because when you play, he's got pace, he's got power. When you play against a defence that's 20 yards from goal, it's very hard for a player whose biggest attribute is his pace and his strength. So it wasn't his game today, but I think it's a partnership I could see working in the next few years. And the thing is, as a team, you only need 3 or 4 players. They've got 2 very good goalkeepers, outstanding goalkeepers. In Egan, they've got a real leader at the back. Josh Cullen hasn't done well on Friday. Today he's done okay. I think he's a player who can take that responsibility, and then you've got a centre forward. And then you just need to find 6, 7 players around them. But these 3 or 4 players have to play all the time, and he'll be one of them. And obviously, if Ireland wants to be successful, he's got to score plenty of goals, but I think he will.
There'll be people sitting at home, Liam, and they'll be wondering about all this optimism in the studio after Ireland have finally picked up their first win of this campaign, only a few days after what was really a disastrous performance.
I don't think it's optimism, Joanne. I think you have to give praise where praise is due. They kept going, they were patient, and it happened for them in the second half. But nobody's saying this is an Irish team that's going to go places. Just on Ferguson alone, who's going to be his partner, his best partner? You've got Ida, you've got Obafemi, you've got who's the other lad? Ogbene, and you've got 3 or 4 Parrott that Stevens tried. Are they going to be top class? Are they going to be good enough to create a really good partnership with Ferguson? Probably looking at their skill levels and talent levels, no, they're not, and this is what Stephen Kenny has to deal with. It's not easy. I said it on Friday, this is a poor team when it comes to wanting to qualify for a Euros or a World Cup. That would be my pessimism about the whole thing. I don't think we're going overboard on this performance, Joe.
I do think, though, Ferguson is a player who makes others better. I think these are real leaders, the ones who obviously you can rely that they perform and make others better. And he strikes me, I don't think there's too many centre forwards who do that, but he strikes me as a player who always does what helps the team most, not what helps him most. And I think he will make other players better. And there's 4 or 5. Some had a chance. Obafemi probably not as many chances as some others. They'll find somebody, because I think playing next to him is not the hardest thing to do.
That is some big praise for Evan Ferguson. Let's look at a man who obviously hasn't had the same sort of form line, the same sort of pedigree, people would say, although there has been hopes about him in the past. So Adam Ida obviously had a difficult night on Friday night. He was a surprise inclusion in the first place. How important was it for him to come and be on target?
Yeah, well, it's a great lift for him. He was very, very poor on Friday night. But McClean's cross makes it. That's 2 assists in his 100th game for Ireland, James McClean. He was brilliant again tonight. Nobody gives more commitment to the Irish team than he does. It was a great finish by Ida. Great cross, made it simple. That'll do him the power of good as well. Delighted for the players tonight. I wanted to see them, give a performance to all these young fans, as Didi said. They owe them that, and they were up for the game tonight, and that was good to see, because Friday was very disappointing. So, as young Jason Knight said, they had to bounce back from it. I thought they spoke very, very well, and that's what they did.
They did. That is absolutely what the Republic of Ireland have done tonight. Obviously, there are still going to be questions around the setup and Stephen Kenny, and they aren't going to go away anytime soon, especially with huge games coming down the track. He's speaking like a leader there, isn't he, James McClean? That press conference yesterday, this is where Stephen Kenny was sitting beside James McClean, and a journalist challenged Stephen Kenny on his record, which obviously has been poor, but while speaking to him, the journalist used the term shambolic, among other things. Stephen Kenny referred to the journalist as being continually disrespectful, and there was a bit of a standoff, at which point James McClean actually came in and said, well, what do you think? And took on the journalist as well. He said there, and then we heard him say there about it would be nice to have the media on side, in reference due to the young players out there. What do you make of comments like that? Because obviously we would like to think that it's up to you to call it as you see it, but can you understand the point that he is making as well?
Well, you rather have the media on side than not on side, because that means you win games. But I think it was a 5th win in a competitive games, I think in 24 games. So far, all the games the manager has won were dead rubbers, because they lost to Armenia in the Nations League, they lost to Luxembourg in the World Cup qualifying. And after 2-3 games, the campaign was over. Now they're in a similar situation. We didn't find anything out today. We didn't know before. And it's very likely that in September, the campaign is over again after 5 games. Because you probably need, you definitely need 3, you probably need 4 points. And you have to hope that France win all their other games.
You were not only about 10 minutes ago talking about how it was still possible to do, and it was possible to go get.
It is possible. Stranger things happen. But the reality is that you need 3 or 4 points against Netherlands and France, and they just got beat by Greece, and then you have to see what Greece is going to do. And they had to get a result on Friday to give them any hope of qualifying. Yes, of course it's possible, but it's very unlikely that they do qualify as a top 2, and then it's down to the Nations League results. And that's disappointing, because they haven't given them, in the last 3 campaigns, they haven't given themselves a chance to be competitive right till the end. And that's obviously, are the players not good enough? Well, if we say the players are not good enough, and the manager says the players are not good enough, he knew the players, because he had some of them in the 21s. He said, I give him a chance. His job is not to develop players. His job is to win games and qualify for tournaments. But if he didn't think the crop of players is good enough, he shouldn't have taken the job. So I think he's got to take...
Why would he take his dream job? He has to deal with whatever players are there.
Yeah, exactly. But if you don't think the players are good enough, don't take the job. If he takes the job and he wins 5 games out of 24, and all the competitive games he's won so far in 3 years were dead rubbers, he's going to get criticised, and rightly so.
To be clear, though, Stephen Kenny never said the players weren't good enough. He's never come out and said that. No,
absolutely not. He's backed his players 100%. I'm saying the players are not good enough to qualify us for a Euros or a World Cup. You have to remember, Joanne, that there's, 24 teams going to play in the next Euros, is it? 24?
Yeah,
could even
correct,
be
yeah.
more. Yeah. That's probably 50% of the teams that are in it, and we're not in the mix.
Is that what's most damning? The fact that it's easier now to
he's
qualify?
saying this, young James McClean there said it'd be nice to have the media on your side. Well, you only get the media on your side by winning matches. He's had 2.5 years of where the media backed him, when results were really, really poor. We've had some terrible results, Luxembourg, Azerbaijan, but they stuck with him. And to be fair, I said it tonight, he's given young players a chance. He works really, really hard. But at the end of the day, it's results that are going to dictate his future. And the narrative can only change about his future if he gets big results. Now, we've got France and the Netherlands to come in September. If we lose both those games, as Didi said, it probably looks like we're not qualifying. And then his future is going to come up again. To change the narrative, he's got to have some big results.
It's been quite tough for Stephen Kenny. His always being asked about his future. Let's instead talk about the immediate future of his Ireland team. 2 huge games ahead, as everybody knows. Third place is no good, so need to get something against the Dutch or the French. So in your last night, can you see them getting positive results there?
No. Maybe more chance against the Netherlands here with the atmosphere that Stephen referred to. It's going to be a big crowd. The crowd will get behind the team. The team will respond to that. You might do something against the Netherlands. Can't see anything in France, Joanne. And ultimately, we won't qualify because that result in Greece, I think, put paid to our chances.
OK, that's all we have time for tonight. A big thank you to Liam and to Didi for joining us on the night when the Republic of Ireland did finally get off the mark in Euro qualifying, but know that there are many, many more mountains still to climb. And it does seem fitting to get one final thought from our departing Liam. Liam, is there anything you want to
Well,
finish
I'd like
by
to say a great thanks to RTE for giving me the chance to sit here for the last 25 years and do what I do, get paid for talking about football. What a dream job. My grandchildren are coming to the Aviva now to watch the matches, so I'm going to be with them.
Oh, it's not. I tell you what, it is much nicer to be with them probably than us watching football matches. Although they may not pay you, they might just take a few quid from your pocket instead. But Liam Brady, it has been an absolute honour and privilege. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.